You have activated a podcast from the Psycom Network.
And now, on with the show.
Welcome to the Retrograde podcast, the show where we combine a retro game with an opinion and use it to solve a puzzle. My name is Jack Marshall. I'm joined by Anthony Hobday.
Hello.
Lizanne Fisher.
Hello.
And James McFadden.
Hello.
In today's show, we're going to be discussing the point-and-click adventure classic, The Secret of Monkey Island. But before we do, let's have a brief blurb on the game from our own three-headed monkey, chief editor of Psycon.org, Brecky Double K Thomason.
The Secret of Monkey Island is a point-and-click adventure game developed and published by Lucasfilm Games and released in 1990. The player assumes the role of Guybrush Threepwood, a young man who dreams of becoming a pirate, exploring fictional Caribbean-themed islands while solving puzzles. The game was conceived by Ron Gilbert, who designed it with Tim Schafer and Dave Grossman, all of whom have gone to become figureheads in the games industry. Gilbert, Schafer, and Grossman also led the development of the sequel, Monkey Island 2: LeChuck's Revenge, before lending the game's many sequels to other development teams. Critics praised The Secret of Monkey Island for its humor, audio visuals, and gameplay. The Secret of Monkey Island is a regular on Greatest Games of All Time's list and still holds a strong place in many gamers' and developers' hearts.
Thanks, Brecky. And we're back.
Was Three-Headed Monkey a reference in Secret of Monkey Island, or just Monkey Island 3?
Oh no, it's in all the Monkey Islands.
Okay, because I'm most familiar with Monkey Island 3, so I thought maybe you were making a reference to a game we were
No,
covering.
it was always a joke of look behind you, there's a three-headed monkey.
Awesome.
But yeah, we're back.
Yay.
Anthony's back. We haven't actually had the game together for a little while.
How long did it take you to get over your horrific diarrhea, Anthony?
It is gone.
Because that's why you weren't
Did
here
you
for the last
even
one.
listen to the last show?
I did. I listened to all of it, just so I could hear what you guys were saying about me. And apart from right at the start, you guys didn't say much. I was a bit disappointed.
Well,
except for the re-record where you use my notes and then you just trashed a couple of them. First of all, he's put this. What's up with that?
Yeah,
No, it's a good show.
How are you, Anthony? We'll start with you then. What have you been up to? Anything you want to share?
Yes, I'm quite looking forward to Ni no Kuni, which is the PS3 RPG I've mentioned before.
Eurogamer gave it a 9.
Yeah, and it's coming out this, February 1st in the UK. So I've pre-ordered that.
But we played that at Reds, and weren't you not...
No, I played it at Eurogamer Expo.
Were you not that impressed? I mean, we were a bit like, oh, it seems alright.
Well, I realised that even though the battle system seems boring, we weren't at the point where you can capture enemy creatures like Pokemon and train them up.
Is it out in Japan?
Yeah, it's been out in Japan for ages.
What did Famitsu give it?
I can't remember. I think it's been out in Japan for ages.
Because if they didn't
hold me
like
to
it,
that.
then it's probably not good because they love...
Well, no, all of the Western people who are reviewing it love it, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not worried about it being a bad game. Also, I'm looking forward to DMC, because that scored very well.
Do you mean Devil May Cry?
Yeah, but it's called DMC, Devil May Cry, so that's how you distinguish it between the older DMCs.
Have you seen the cover art for it? I didn't particularly like it.
I don't really pay attention because I buy my games digitally usually. So I don't look at... Well, most of us do, Jack. I don't look at cover art because it's kind of like... I want what's inside the box. It's about inner beauty, Jack, with games and with women.
I just go straight to the box. Lizanne?
That was awful. That was terrible.
I hate the fact you went, I just go straight to the box. Lizanne.
What have you been up to, Lizanne?
Thanks, Jack. Well, I've been enjoying this lovely weather, and I had a snow day yesterday, which is great, and it's snowing tonight, so maybe a snow day tomorrow. But yeah, apart from that, not a huge amount.
How long did
I've
you
been
live...
out a lot, but that's about it.
Sorry, how long did you live in Scotland for, James?
Until I was 6.
So do you remember getting snow that was incredibly heavy?
I mean, the snow up there isn't actually... I was living in sort of a fairly temperate part, so it wasn't massively
Wasn't that
worse
bad?
than
Okay.
it is down here right now.
Because I've never lived anywhere with like we've got how many inches? Like 3 inches of snow? Although where you were,
no.
you said you were out
At
in a
school,
field.
Yeah, school today. Massive
inches.
snowball fight on the field. I've started running.
Good time to do it.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder why you done.
Anthony. I've been running from Anthony.
Wait, I wonder why you're getting quieter
Oh, because I'm running away.
from the mic. Yeah, you meant
That was bizarre.
I thought you meant I started running now.
Oh, no.
By the way, I've started running.
I'm doing the couch to 5k, and I'm halfway.
Couch to okay.
And I'm halfway through the second week, and so far I can do it. So that's good.
I really admire you because I find it's much harder to run with a couch. Those things are heavy.
We missed you in the last show, Anthony. We missed jokes like that. I got an invite by someone to do one of those like tough warrior ones. And I was like, I'll give it a try. And it was like 30k over like mud and fire and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to give that one a miss.
Mud and fire.
When are you,
at the same time.
when are you running it?
I'm not running that.
Oh, you should.
There is a zombie 5k though they do in America where they pay people to dress up as zombies and they chase you on a 5k marathon and you've got 3 tags to your back. And if the zombies grab the tag, you die and you don't finish. You don't die. You're out and you don't finish the marathon.
Adam did that.
That sounds amazing.
I think it might have been once in this country somewhere.
No, previous guest of the show, Adam Bromman Shoes, did that.
Really?
And they do it through a forest. I'm not sure it's 5k, but it's a zombie run where you have to like escape zombies.
Yeah.
That sounds immense.
I might try and doing that. Yeah. James, what have you been up to?
I got my uni results back. I did not fantastically. I did well, which is good. I'm
How'd you
pleased.
do?
I got 2 1s and everything, which isn't. I mean,
Dude,
sorry.
everyone prefers people with 2 1s because it shows that you're very intelligent, but you also know how to have a life. If you have a first, it just shows that you're clever, but you have no life.
or not too
2-2 shows you
intelligent to
spend too
be
much time out.
alienating.
First class
Okay, I
honours
see.
with distinction over here.
Yeah. What was
Jack
your
has no life.
What was your degree in though? Just for the listeners.
Computer games technology.
Wow. I see.
I got a 2-1 in
If
drama.
anyone wants to know what with distinction mean, that means 85% average or above.
I've got a
No life. No life, Marshall.
Jack. I've got a first class honours with distinction in playing video games.
I know, that is actually what I've got. It's got me nothing. I'll be the first one to admit it's got me nothing.
I mean, granted, I wrote the certificate myself, but is that really much different?
My brother did like aeronautical engineering and did a master. My sisters did like business, finance and marketing and stuff. And I come along and do computer video games. Got first though, then I got 2 1s. And all that. But you were pleased with those? Yeah, they are. They're
It's absolutely abysmal.
But you were pleased? Did you get your results and they were like, you missed that key or you screwed that finger up
no,
a bit?
what they said about my playing was that it was honest. But
Oh, that's a nice way of saying rugged and rushed.
well, kind of, yeah. I don't know. They said I could have paid attention to harmonic shifts a little more, Jack. You know what I mean?
No.
And my
totally do, James.
my rubato in the Chopin could have been more pronounced, a little more expressive. It was
Rebuttal?
A little,
Oh, I've always found that when I'm playing Chopin.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's
that's
quite a
always been
common
my
issue.
problem.
But no, aside from that, yeah, not bad.
That's
I also
awesome, James.
I saw Django Unchained as well, which
I'm desperate to see.
Is that part of your degree?
yeah. I got a 2-1.
Otherwise, that was a very sudden segue.
No.
You got a 2-1 for watching Tarantino movies.
To be honest,
Yeah.
I've heard,
That's what I give the film.
I would take the music in it. I've heard really good things about music in it.
I thought, again, one of Tarantino's things for me, and for most people I think, is the fact that he uses licensed like music from sort of other people's albums and stuff to great effect, but in this film, a lot of it is composed just for the
Was it
film.
like, what's that, Western,
And
I take it?
Yeah, it's like
music, is it?
Western and also kind of 70s funk / disco inspired.
Oh, so it does
'cause
dip-
it's about black exploitation.
So is it like Inglourious Basterds where it does still dip into kind of like modern day?
Oh, there's so
yeah,
many.
there's
and
some rap
stuff
in
like
it.
that.
There's like some rap.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's not like
which is really jarring.
It's a very modern
it's
film,
not like
even though
set
it's
in
set
a
in.
period.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got very modern sensibilities.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I'm sure you love it. It's a good film. I
I will love it, I know.
I preferred Inglourious Basterds, and I was a bit let down because I expected it to be fantastic.
I'll have to bleep that. I have to bleep that out.
You've already said
Place
it.
it out.
You just
And
said
it- and it-
it. You literally just said it. I wouldn't have said it, Jack.
With an E.
Yeah, it was
Bastards.
spelled
That's
differently when
why
you
you're
said
allowed
it.
to say it.
Bastards.
Let's
why you're allowed
Speaking
to
of French things, Les Miserables. Gonna go see that, you know.
Again, that's not how you say
Can't
it.
wait for
Les
Les.
Miserables.
Can't wait for Les Mis rules.
Just say
It's gonna be
Les Mis.
awesome.
Just say Les Mis.
He can't even say lay.
Gonna see Hugh Jackman singing some French songs, isn't it? It's gonna be great.
I saw
I'm
that.
gonna
There were
see that.
You know
no.
it's not in French, yeah?
Good. I want to understand what's going on. I don't want to go there and read. This guy who goes to a film and reads. But yeah, I didn't get invited to Django Unchained. I could have gone with you.
Well, I went with my girlfriend, Jack.
She's got a leg in a car.
Third wheel.
I asked our friends, again, friends of the show, Adam, they were going to go see Les Miserables on their date night, and I actually Facebooked them going, "Can I come along?"
Why are you trying to get these invites
And they were
to
like,
other people's
and
romantic evenings out?
Jess was like, no, it's a date night. And I went, oh, will I break the mood a bit?
You probably would, Jack, to be fair.
I probably would, especially when I go, oh, Les Miserables, can't wait for this. Whenever Hugh Jackman comes on, goes,
And-
that's Wolverine. What have I been up to? Well, you will know. Sadly, I moved into my place about 2 months ago, and my form of a housewarming was going to be to have a rock band party.
Oh God,
But
yes.
because
Ruined my Friday
of the
night.
snow and the rain and the weather and stuff, I couldn't because there's too many people that live
I could've
far
made it.
away. And
I could have made it.
I know
Neil
half,
could have come. Alex
half-
could have come.
half the people could have made it, and half the people couldn't make it. So I thought there's no point.
So do it, and then we just do another one.
You're
I'm
ridiculous.
not having you lot in my house twice. I'm sorry.
So rude, Jack.
That makes sense.
That hurts my feelings.
Hey, I had everything lined up. I've got the keyboard, I've got the drums, I've got the piano, I've got the guitars, got the microphones. I was ready to rock band, but the snow, so couldn't do it. I asked people for what songs they definitely want, and no one got back to me. So I was like, no one's excited about this.
The song I wanted wasn't available to download, so
Call Me Maybe's on there though, so I got that. Download that one straight away.
You see the eyes. He's really excited.
And a
about
bit of
it.
Hannah Montana.
Oh, wait, you do have the keyboard.
Yes, I got a keyboard.
Oh.
yeah.
No, James, you're not allowed to play it with the keyboard.
I'm gonna have fun with this. I have a
Basic
thing.
mode. I'm not kidding you. It's just red, blue, yellow, green, orange, whatever, and it's just 5 keys, and you just have to go
Yeah.
with one hand. That's it. Which is for you must just be like, wow, that's
this
the
is
easiest
gonna
thing
be
ever.
fun.
But pro mode just becomes mental.
Is it actually like playing the piece? on a-
You'd have to tell me to be
Is
honest.
the keyboard only big enough for one hand at a time, or can you use both?
I know you can use both, but it's very short. It's only about 15 keys, I guess. No, maybe a bit more.
So like 2 octaves.
About that long.
Yeah, it'll probably be 2 octaves. If it's
Yeah.
2 hands, it'll be 2 octaves.
Probably about the long.
Is it like this big?
about the length of an A4 piece of paper.
All right,
So about
okay.
that long. Then you go
That's
about
like
this.
1 octave then.
Yeah.
what length is this video game controller? Oh, two octaves long. They don't measure in octaves, James. It's a video game controller.
They measure things in hectares.
The guitar for guitar is about 4 octaves,
Russia.
I think.
Oh, sweet.
All right.
Soviet Russia, hectare measure you.
No, you remember that episode of The Simpsons where he gets that really cheap car and it's like, what country is this from? And he goes, it will get 15 hectares to the gallon.
And just see when he drives off, goes, put it into H. Anyway, let's talk about the Secret of Monkey Island.
Secret of Monkey Island.
Woo! I chose this game, so I'll quickly go first, see what I think about it.
No, why did you choose the game?
Well, I chose it because I played it when I was a teenager, and I absolutely love it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I don't think it's perfect. I think it's far from that. I will echo what our friend of the show, Mark Toole, said to me earlier. He goes, it's a funny game, but basically, he gave me the exact phrase I completely forgot to say. He says, it's a very funny game, but if you took away all of that, it's not a very good game. And I agree. I think the actual stripped down elements of the game aren't perfect. There's a lot of fine-tuning that could have been done. I think there's a lot of elements of the game I don't enjoy, but taking, as I said before in a lot of episodes, if you take everything as a whole, I love the humour, I love the comedy, I love the graphics, I love the sound, I love the general style. I do like my point-and-click adventure games, and that's why I really like it. And it is generally goes down as one of the most favourite games, especially among game developers. Lots of game developers love the Secret of Monkey Island games.
Who are all these game developers you keep talking about? Because
They're just-
every single game, Jack's always like, yeah, game developers loved it. Yeah, yeah. Is
You
that just
speak
you
to
and
him on a
Mark?
daily basis.
You sure?
There are certain. There's been lists before where Edge of Arse, game
Lists.
developers.
George Bush hears God. Jack hears just game developers every day telling him
It's-
little secrets that none of
Yeah.
the rest of us know.
There are
Jack,
certain games.
The game developers like Secret Monkey Island.
There are certain games that players really love, and there are certain games that developers really love.
Give me one that players don't love but developers do.
I'd say Monkey Island.
Players don't like
That's got
police
Players
massive
do
cult
like.
following.
Okay, no, players do like. I'm trying to think of a good one. It's a hard one to say because no, generally, if the players like developers, but there are games that players will love that developers generally won't really love. Like the latest Modern Warfare, for example,
Yeah.
developers aren't really that bothered about it. It's like, well, it's not doing anything new. And I think, but no, honestly, when I have interviews with developers, a lot of people when they say what games influence you to get into gaming, a lot of them will say Half-Life or Doom, and Monkey Island comes up quite often because it's the first game that really, arguably, did humour really well.
Can I return to your first point? Because it kind of interested
Do you
me.
want to also say, well, you do that and then say what you thought
What,
of the
that you
game?
played this as a teenager?
Oh, no. Well, one of your first points, which was that you think if you take away the humour and the comedy, and those are your words, humour and comedy, not mine, because I found it interesting that you said both. If you take away those, then the actual game isn't great. But I was going to say that as far as point-and-click games go, this is pretty archetypal. So I wondered if you meant as
Well,
I wonder if you meant in relative. I wonder if you meant relative to other point-and-click games, or if you meant games as a whole.
Well, put it this way, I used to play a hell of a lot of point-and-click adventure games. I really liked them. One of the reasons was because I knew they'd always run on my computer because they weren't too demanding. And I never enjoyed the ones that took out humour. So things like King's Quest or Police Quest or Goblins. I didn't or Simon the Sorcerer as a good example, I didn't enjoy them as much when they were trying to be a serious point-and-click game.
But are you saying that? Do you mean that you don't like point-and-click as a genre, or you mean within the genre? This
He doesn't like serious games.
I don't like serious games.
No, I just think the actual the mechanic behind a point-and-click game of collecting items and basically just trying to work out what you have to do with them can get a bit monotonous. That's what I mean.
Because I wondered
still
if you
enjoy
meant
it. I find it very challenging, and solving a puzzle feels great. But even back then, I remember I would get frustrated with something, going, "What do I have to do now?" It's not an ideal enjoyment in a game.
No, I wonder if you meant that as far as point-and-click games went, you didn't like this one much for the mechanics, or if you meant the genre itself is.
I mean, the mechanics of this are pretty much, especially across
Standard,
across the LucasArts point-and-click classics. This is the kind of this is the standard. This is the default one. I mean, the Monkey Island is probably, arguably, if not the best point-and-click adventure game, it's definitely the most famous and most loved.
I agree with that.
But what did you think of the game, Anthony?
You kind of brought onto it. I like this game for the humour, just like you do, and I think one of the things that point-and-click games allow is for humour, because a lot of games don't have as much text. They're not as text-heavy. I mean, RPGs have a lot of text, but they usually take themselves very seriously, like a lot of point-and-click games do. But it seems like point-and-click is a genre where comedy can actually shine, because mainly of companies like LucasArts who wanted to make comedy games, and that's where they found the outlet. So I like the comedy, but like you say, I'm not really a fan of the whole genre, because they make me feel stupid, or I'm bad at them. And I end up just using a guide, and then it kind of ruins the game, because I just check a guide every time I want to solve a puzzle. And that kind of takes out the enjoyment, just like if you use cheats in a game like Skyrim and suddenly you can kill everything. There's no point in, completing the story.
Get onto that later about why I guess the point-and-click genre has died out a little bit. But you're saying that you enjoyed it.
I wish I liked it more, because it's kind of like it's like a great game in the genre,
more.
probably the best game in the genre, or the series is probably the best of the genre.
Had you played it before, actually? That would be a good question to start with.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Monkey Island 3, which I played when I was young.
Oh, okay.
I completed that, but towards the end I had to use a guide.
Okay.
Me and my brother were kind of like taking turns on it.
So you're saying you were a little bit disappointed with Monkey Island 1?
No, not disappointed. It's just they're not for me, and I wish they were, because I really like the writing.
Okay, fair enough.
But the actual mechanics, like you say, aren't my favourite.
Who wants to go next?
Oh, okay.
Lizanne. What did you think of the game, Lizanne?
Well, I had never played it before, and the first point-and-click adventure game I ever played was when I was like 12 or 13, and my brother got the Goosebumps Horrorland
memories
game, PC point-and-click adventure, and I didn't like that, so I wasn't anticipating great things for Monkey Island. I didn't play it with the old graphics, thankfully, because looking at that, I would never have played it. No, but I've just seen the old graphics there, so I have an idea of what they're like.
The HD remake.
Yeah, I did. I paid for it, man.
If I can just jump in, I honestly think the HD remake looks worse because the graphics aren't as tight.
I agree.
They're not as consistent across the board. The graphics kind of weird and floaty. Whereas the original, everything looks like it goes together. Even though the UI on the new one is much better with the coin. Like, you can right-click and get context-sensitive actions rather than the...
Oh, that's actually... Sorry, I haven't played the HD version for a while. Is that, they took the coin from the third one and put that as the mechanic in the first
similar.
one?
Like, they basically took away the verb list and replaced it with like a thing centered around the mouse.
Scum bar, as it's called at the bottom. Yeah.
Which is, I think is better, so I don't like the fact that the older one has the verb list. Especially because right at the start, I clicked use, push, and pull on the door to the bar, all of which should have opened a door, because if you push or pull a door, it's going to open.
No, you have to use open.
I know, but so I had to click open. You would have thought the game would be more lenient in terms of a door and push and pull, but no. Whatever. Anyway.
So,
Lizanne, go on.
I forgot what I was saying now. Oh, yeah.
You played the HD remake.
Played the HD version. The humour was good. I think I did actually laugh out loud at a couple of points. Which we'll get onto later. But I was frustrated with it extremely quickly, and used a guide. And
this is what I'm saying. If there's a guide,
and then because I started using the guide, I was just like, right, well, I'll just carry on using the guide then, just to see what the game's about. But the thing is
I'll chip in and just say
that
that's cheating, but carry on.
And my point back to you when you said that to me on Facebook was, at least I'm playing it. I played it for 4.5 hours, Jack. Oh, wow. Which is the longest I've ever played one of your games. And yeah, I haven't touched it in 2 weeks though. Yeah, the humour was really good, but it's just not a style of gaming I enjoy, because I got very easily frustrated by it.
Okay, but
And
did
you know
you?
how
I mean, did
impatient
you
I am.
literally get frustrated with just like
I got
the
frustrated
puzzles,
because-
the puzzle aspect of it?
Because at the very beginning, you need a lot of money to do anything, and I didn't know where to get a lot of money, and so I then had to go on the guide and look up how to get to those Italian brothers.
You get the pot from the chef's kitchen.
Exactly.
Where that
And
has a
I had to
helmet
look up, and I had to
in the
do all of
circus.
that and jump through all of these hoops to get fired out of a blimmin' cannon, and then suddenly I get a ton of money, and then that was fine. But I then used the walkthrough to get through the rest of it, because I was like, right, well, if it's that intricate this early on, I will kill my laptop in an hour's time. So that's why I used the guide.
It's
It was
interesting
too
that
hard too early.
It's interesting that you say about having to get loads of money to do anything, because in a game like, let's just say Assassin's Creed, if you say to someone you need a lot of money to do anything, it means like earning money for hours, and then you can buy certain stuff.
Yeah.
But in this game, money is more of just a single puzzle like solver.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you get a stack of
Yeah,
money, and then
it's-
you can't use it to buy stuff. You just use it for one thing, or
It's,
Yeah.
not, it's not like Fable where you have to chop wood for 2 hours. It's a part of the puzzle. You're getting an object. I know it's money.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You're getting an object. Is what
And it's
you're
interesting that
getting.
this game treats it that way rather than
I spent ages.
every other game
I
treats
spent
money.
ages trying to steal the sword and the whatever
Yeah,
else it
me
is
too,
from the
yeah.
shop, and
Also
from the
in
guy,
the-
like sending him off to go see the swordmaster, then be like, pick it up, put it away, walk out. Hey, you don't do it. Yeah.
I also
Oh,
expected
my
that guy.
version has all the voices.
I know. We'll get onto that as well.
I
but
expected that guy every time I talked to him when I said that I just want to browse. I expected like an inventory screen to open up with like shop
Yeah.
options, because I'm so used to modern RPGs and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
But it doesn't happen with any. It's just very jarring.
What did you think of the game, James?
Oh, it's not for me, Jack.
Brilliant. I'm on my own.
Oh, it's not for me.
Yeah, I don't know why I just repeated that again after saying it so quickly. Yeah, I just don't admire any of the design principles at play here whatsoever. I mean, they've got a few nice lines of dialogue, but for me, the atmosphere isn't really effective, because the characters consist of just 2D, barely animated sprites, and
It's
it's
so
just
charming, though.
It's, the music is. I mean, it's well loaded.
Did you
like,
play the
they're-
HD?
No, I played the original.
Right, okay.
Good man.
The music isn't for me very beautiful. It's kind of catchy occasionally, but it loops so often, and it grates on me. Visually, it I can see why some people might like it, but for me, it's not inspired whatsoever. I mean, even here, you've got it on your tablet. Is this a tablet?
That's a Google Nexus 7 running Scum VM, which is all legal because I actually do own a copy of the game when I first bought it
As
years
always,
ago.
yeah.
Yep.
So
No,
paranoid.
it's true. I actually have got a copy of Monkey Island.
And here, it's like the art style for Guybrush's face and the pirate's face is so different to the art style for the rest of the game.
Hold on,
It's
no, I was
bizarre.
going to jump in. The close-ups, I remember playing this back in the day. The close-ups, when it goes to the close-up, especially Guybrush, because he looks nothing like what I thought he'd look like, are horrible. I never liked when they had the
Exactly, it's just,
close-up
bizarre.
When
chats.
I actually wrote that down when that first happened. This exact scene when you get a close up of the pirate, it freaked me out because it's such a shift in graphical fidelity.
Exactly,
between
and it
this
makes
and
no
the,
sense. It's not coherent in terms of game design. I don't get why.
No, but it was almost creepy in a funny way for me. Like I wasn't expecting
And
it.
I'm gonna quickly. I found a brilliant article written by, and I can't actually find a damn thing. I want to say it was Tim Schafer who wrote a really good article about 2 years ago when the HD came out. So he went back and played Monkey Island and gave his thoughts on it, and he agreed. He said the close-ups he was never happy with. He was like, I don't know why we did those.
Tim Schafer.
Or was it Ron Gilbert?
Well, it's probably because the rest of the graphics
I'll
look
put
so
the.
awful.
It's probably
I'll put-
Tim Schafer. Nobody.
He's
knows who
got a
Ron Gilbert
blog
is
called
anymore.
Grumpy Gamer.
People
And I
know Ron
think
Yeah,
Gilbert.
it's Ron. That's Ron Gilbert.
That's Ron Gilbert.
Tim
yeah.
Schafer's doing Double Fine.
People know Ron
That's-
Gilbert because he just made the cave.
Well,
And-
it's Gilbert, Chapin, and Grossman were the three Scum Masters who made the Manic Mansion, and then they made this afterwards.
Maniac
And then-
Mansion.
Manic Mansion, sorry, and then it all went they all went all over the place doing different projects. But this was the first one that they this was when they all agreed that they were at their like peak making Monkey Island.
Wait, it is
comfortable.
It is Maniac Mansion, not Manic Mansion, right? Because there's another game called Manic something, isn't there?
I've now you've said it. I think it's Maniac Mansion, but
There's another game called Manic something.
Manic Miner.
Maybe.
That's like an old Atari game.
So, game wasn't. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. But the game's
yeah,
not
well, that's
particularly
fine.
for you, James.
No, it's for me. kind of, for me, it's akin to those old choose your own adventure novels. In that it's
Those were brilliant.
Those were frustrating as well. I would just go in loops.
No, they were amazing.
The dinosaurs
I had
kept eating me.
I had the Nightmare one. It was incredible.
I had a dinosaur one.
No, Nightmare like the TV show.
Maybe
Nightmare.
next week we'll do those then. See if you enjoy those instead of Monkey Island, shall we? Oh.
No, next show
No,
is...
it's Mike's turn. No, it's
Well,
Anthony's turn
well,
next
I'm
time.
only-
Yes,
I'm
we'll
only
do it next
joking,
time.
but-
No, next show is going to be the Choose Your Own Adventure book.
What? Quake, Choose Your Own Adventure.
So, are any of you any fans at all of the point-and-click adventure?
No,
Frank.
not
So
at all.
Sam Max, Dead Tentacle, Fate of Atlantis.
I've never heard-
Max is awful.
I've never heard of any of them.
This is half of my questions for you guys. Are completely out the window now.
I've never
because-
heard of any of those games.
Think about it, Jack. Think about it. Why would the point-and-click genre, as an entire genre that had some really classic, air quotes, games like Monkey Island in it, have died out so spectacularly and comprehensively, except for maybe one or two
hold on,
Telltale
hold on.
games?
Because
No.
they
It's not died out. There's a site called Big Fish Games, and that's just filled with point-and-click adventures. New ones released every day.
But none are
They-
big profile.
Like
they
the
don't
mystery
sell.
case files.
they
and
do.
things like that.
They do still occasionally crop up and become popular. I mean, you could argue that they've modernised into almost quick-time events, and you could even argue that maybe Heavy Rain is
No,
getting
it's not, because
close.
Heavy Rain, in terms of gameplay, relies on dexterous manipulation of a controller, whereas Monkey Island relies, and sure that can be basic, and that's open to loads of criticism as well because it's very basic. But Monkey Island relies on arbitrary trial and error and combination of totally logically unrelated items until
Yes.
eventually you get the desired
No,
outcome.
I would
Yes,
agree
that's
to the-
my point as well, James.
And
Yes,
I don't
agree with James.
appreciate having to go through this arduous task that the developers put in place just to hinder my process in order to get more of their sometimes occasionally well-written dialogue.
I would disagree that the puzzles aren't logical. A lot
think
of
they're
times
lateral.
they're quite what's the word, satisfying when you try something. For example, using the pot in the chef's kitchen as a helmet. It's something that you might think, and I guess this is a question I was going to ask. Did you guys not I mean, the difference was when I played this back in the day, you couldn't get a walkthrough. If one of your friends had played it, you might be able to phone them up on the phone, but you were basically stuck. And I remember getting games. I remember some of them. I mean, if you thought this was hard, good lord, like Simon the Sorcerer was unbelievable.
Did they not sell a strategy guide?
No, not really. Not back in those days. Possibly. I don't
When was this
remember buying them. The Secret Monkey Island was 1990, and that was when the big wave of the LucasArts classics came in the early 90s. But I remember Space Quest 6 with Roger Wilco. Some of the puzzles in that, I would sit there for maybe 3 weeks and I couldn't work
Space
them out.
Quest 6, memories, man.
That was a great game. don't.
Is that a...
I remember Little Big Adventure. If any of you played that,
Yeah.
that was a kind of like it's and that was a problem. So I guess without the internet, and I remember back in the day, especially playing Day of the Tentacle. Day of the Tentacle's puzzle I think flowed a bit better, but Monkey Island, there were times where I'd stuck and I'd be like, what do I have to do? And then you'd finally work it out, and you'd be like, oh my god, that's so relieving. Just brilliant.
Was the hint feature there on the old one?
No,
Right, okay.
that was only in the
I think they
HD
added it
remake as
because
well.
gamers nowadays don't want to...
But again, you've got to remember that back in the day, this reviewed really well. It was very enjoyable. Do you think gamers have become more... Well, what's the word I'm looking
Discerning.
for? I guess so, yeah.
Do you know what that means?
No.
Discerning, it means
Oh,
selective.
discerning, sorry. Oh, I misheard you. Okay. Yeah, do you think...
You didn't mishear him, he said discerning.
Yeah.
I thought you said
But that's
discerning.
just-
That's why I got
that's James'
confused.
accent.
It's not an incorrect way of pronouncing that word.
Well,
Discerning.
I've never heard discerning to...
I just assumed it was your accent.
Discerning. Anywho,
Yeah, do you think, let's just say they've become more fussy.
I think that the industry in
Discerning.
general has just evolved, and I mean, the difficulty in place in the game. It's not an example of actual difficulty. It's just an example of obtuse game design in order to create some sense of progression, because you can't just walk through all of the scenarios.
I think games
Yeah.
like this require lateral thinking, which I'm not good at, which is why I'm bad at these games. But I remember... This was in Monkey Island 4, which is the 3D one,
Yeah.
which wasn't received very well.
No.
I remember playing it in South Africa when we went over there to visit distant family.
Show off. Ooh, okay.
I was like 13, so it's not like I'm... It's not showing off if it happened that many years ago.
Go on.
I once went to a foreign country, Jack. Are you proud of me? No. I was playing Monkey Island 4 on their PS2, and I could not advance in the game at all. And I remember we went somewhere else for a couple of weeks, and in the car journey on the way there, right,
Yeah.
I realised how to solve this puzzle, because it had just been in the back of my head this entire time. I wasn't even thinking about it, but it was this Y-shaped cactus, and you had
I remember that
a
bit.
tire in a tube, and you had to use it as a catapult to break a window or something. And I'd seen all those components on the screen, and I hadn't even thought about it, but then back in my mind, like a week later, it suddenly popped into my head,
Yes.
And so I couldn't wait to get back there and try it, and it worked perfectly. And so that's why I think I'm not good at these games, because I don't think of those things at the time. I think of them 2 weeks later.
I think one thing, although because you played the HD remake, this probably kind of throws this kind of opinion out, but one thing that's lost is because it's aged, and graphically I still think it's very pretty and stuff, but because at the time the graphics were acceptable and well-rounded and nice and the music was pretty, it was fun just generally exploring the world. Like you weren't like you guys were going. I
For
guess
1990, that is good.
It's charming.
I guess you guys when you were playing it were kind of hunting for the objects, but back then I remember playing it just exploring, just having fun, touching anything and seeing what Guybrush Threepwood would do.
Having fun exploring and
I
touching
don't understand
everything.
why you are the way you are.
No, but then the humour from him doing certain things and playing with certain stuff is just great. For example, I remember in Sam & Max there's a bit, well, any time in the game, if you try to pick up an object 4 times, he'll say to you, I can't pick that up, no, I can't pick that up, I can't pick that up. He'll start crying, the main character, and you have to get Max, the other character, to come over and comfort him, and then he'll carry on playing. And it's little touches like that I just really like, and I think that's another reason why, but maybe that's why I think, maybe because it's not as graphically as appealing now. You don't really want to explore the environments as much now.
I think that illustrates one of the main reasons why actually nowadays, at least for me, it doesn't stand up. I mean, games like Skyrim, sort of the big explore, go and do whatever you want games, they've kind of desensitized me to the possibility of exploring every single dialogue option and piece of interactable scenery or whatever. I don't want to have to do all of that because I've seen
Oh my god, it's so dull.
And so
every single option.
I mean, come on, Jack, you played Skyrim.
I enjoyed Skyrim. I didn't do it all. I mean,
Skyrim was wonderful, but you didn't choose every single dialogue option with every single NPC.
Oh no, I tried to. Fallout 3 was the only one that I really tried to not skip any dialogue, and I got about 2 hours in and I went, I'm skipping dialogue now.
Well, you're encouraged in Monkey Island to not skip anything because you don't know what could be very important.
I loved one of the little things, the trivia in this is that the full stop was the option to skip dialogue. A lot of people didn't realise this or discover this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Ron Gilbert said to me, the reason I did that is because the full stop was the end of a sentence. That's why you'd skip it. But what's great is the only bit of dialogue in the game you can't skip is there's a bit where you go to Monkey Island, and when you're on the island, you can phone a LucasArts helpline, and there'll be a woman who answers the phone, and it will say, hi, what game are you having trouble with? And you can go, the Secret of Monkey Island. And she'll go, you really want to buy Loom? And then she'll go into a big pitch about Loom, and that's the only dialogue you can't skip in the game.
That happens again. There's a Loom advertisement in the.
Yeah, there's a bloke with a hat on.
I mean, I'll talk about it in the trivia, but there are a lot of Easter eggs in the game, like loads. Like in fact, and there's so many film references in Monkey Island as well. Yeah, it's pretty bizarre, and it's come full circle because in Pirates of the Caribbean there's a lot of references to Monkey Island as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a few jokes in Pirates of the Caribbean that are based. For example, with Scott Pilgrim, he says to someone at one point, "You fight like a cow."
Oh yeah, I didn't even.
Which is obviously Monkey Island. How appropriate.
Oh my god, that whole mechanic did my head
in.
The
sword fight mechanic is brilliant.
God.
It's awesome.
Absolutely brilliant.
The actual pirates, that was fine, but I didn't collect enough answers before I went to see the Sword Master. No,
you're an idiot then, aren't you?
No, because the reason I stopped. This is it. The reason I stopped is because finally one of the pirates turned around and said, "You're good enough to fight the Sword Master." And so, I was like, "Sweet," and went off and found her and fought her. And then
you didn't have enough insults,
I didn't have enough answers.
Yeah.
Why is it telling me that I'm ready when I wasn't?
I think at that point you can technically beat her.
It was so frustrating.
It's up to luck.
It's just not
to get all the answers.
It was so frustrating. I mean, I could work out which responses went with what she was saying. That was fine, but I just didn't have enough answers, and then it took me flipping ages to get these pirates to fight me again.
Well,
didn't enjoy it. That took an hour and a half of my 4.5 hours.
I love that bit. It's brilliant.
No, it's rubbish.
A little while ago,
really, and the insults were poor.
Insults are amazing.
They are. I was going to quiz you on them later. I've got them all over here. We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see how fun.
Yeah,
we'll see how good we are at your insights.
We might have to do multiple choice,
not multiple choice.
Make your point.
Oh, okay. Earlier you mentioned other point-and-click games being much harder. I was going to say one of the best things about Secret Monkey Island, or the Monkey Island games in general, and also LucasArts games in general, is that you can't lose. Whereas in some point-and-click games, like the Sierra games,
that was a big difference at the time when they made it.
You could die and stuff, or you could fail to pick up a single item, and then it would completely
King's
you over.
Quest was famous for its
it would mess you over late game, and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it unless you had a save for it. So I like that LucasArts made it just about exploring and the comedy and the solving puzzles, and didn't have that fail state.
Well, there was a little thing they put in the game, like I said, an Easter egg. If Guybrush walks to one corner of the lookout plateau on Monkey Island, the rock will give way under him and he will fall, supposedly to his death, and a menu screen with the options restore, restart, and quit will appear briefly. It's a parody of Sierra games such as King Quest 4, The Perils of Rosella, which feature many inconvenient ways to die, and they were awful. Like, you just walk over something and you go, death! You go, oh, Jesus. But yeah, all of LucasArts games. The only one, I think, in the Fate of Atlantis, there's one bit you can die. I think the Last Crusade had a couple of bits you could die.
Oh.
But they all had quick save options as well, which was quite not quick save.
Well, I guess
but they
Indiana
had
Jones is more
saves.
serious.
Yeah, I've got some insults and see if you can remember the comeback. So the easiest one is always you fight like a dairy farmer. Anyone remember the insult
Something
comeback?
about a cow.
It's like, is it about...
Is this going to be a bad idea? No one going to remember.
Is it about... No, we're not going to remember.
Fight like a deer.
No, how appropriate! You fight like a cow.
Oh.
I thought we were doing.
I
it.
didn't know it had something to do with a cow.
I thought we
No,
were
I
doing a
know
little
it.
group joke there
No,
because that's
no,
the
no,
famous one. So you guys knew that. Come
Soon,
on.
No,
soon
I
you'll be wearing my sword like a shish kebab. Man, I should be the
I
one
can't
planning this.
remember these.
Test. Don't
Right,
look at the
fine.
bottom bit, 'cause that's another bit. In fact, you can read it already. But yeah, ask me something. See if I can remember the replies.
Have you stopped wearing diapers yet?
Why did you want to borrow one?
This is the end for you gutter crawling cur.
It's a shame no one's ever heard of you at all.
No.
Oh, this is the end of you. You got to crawling cur. I've got a point for you. Get my tip or something. No, that is one of them.
I've got a tip
Tip for you. Get my point. Yeah, that's it.
You just offered me your tip.
Ask me some more. Ask me some more. This is fun. Not for the listeners, but this is fun for
I once
me.
owned a dog that was smarter than you.
You
No,
must have,
that's not one of them. I was just telling you.
you must have taught him everything. He must have taught you everything you know.
Yeah, you make me want to puke.
You may be somebody who already did.
You have the manners of a beggar.
I want to make sure you feel comfortable with me.
There are no words for how disgusting you are.
Yes, there are. You just don't know him yet.
You're no match for my brains, you poor fool.
Oh.
I knew it.
Oh, I don't
knew I
know
was
that
cleverer than
one. You're doing a match for my brains. You fool. No, go on. What's the answer to that one?
I'd be in real...
Trouble if you used them.
There we go. I knew you knew it.
Damn.
Yeah, that's boring now.
Yeah. Okay. We'll
Talk
stop
about something
that.
else.
I won that game. Okay. Okay.
You were the only player.
I want to ask you something about it, Sam, because the one thing about it was I always really liked the fact that the story opens with just Guybrush walking out going, I want to be a pirate.
Yeah.
That's the opening. And it sets
I
the
wrote that
whole
down.
thing
Sudden
up.
opening.
And then he walks up to the lookout and that's all it is. And straight away it sets up because the lookout bullies him. And I think he says something like, ahoy there, fancy pants, or something like that. And I think Ron Gilbert said that's his favourite throwaway line in the whole thing. And I just love, and that little interaction between the two of them where he's like, I want to be a pirate, what do I want to do? Go down to the scum bar and talk to the pirates. That's all the setup for the whole thing. And it's not, I don't know if it's not great storytelling, but I just really like that. I like the fact that there's no backstory to Guybrush. He just walks in and goes, I want to be a pirate. And in the start of number 2, he walks in and goes, I'm a mighty fierce pirate. And that's it. That's the whole story. And I kind of love that. I don't know why.
That's
It's
all right.
simple. No, but it's really
So
simple.
what's the question? What are you asking
I guess the
me?
question is, what did you think of the overall? Because you're a drama teacher, you study stories and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
What did you think of the overall story going through the game? I know it's hard.
I
It's a
didn't finish
puzzle.
it.
I know, but I know it's because it's like a puzzle game. But you said to me you got to the cannibals on Monkey Island, for example.
Several times, yeah.
So you did the whole journey bit, and he goes to the island
Yeah.
and stuff, and he's trying to rescue Elaine and things. And there's an evil. Like, for example, would you think this would make a good film?
No.
Oh, they tried to
Do
make
you not
one.
think the audience would be really bored sitting there watching him walk around talking to
I
everyone,
don't-
having really pointless, endless
I don't mean
conversations, and trying
literally
to
a
throw a
film.
cake at some dogs and
Would
see if they'll
it
eat
make a good
Like,
stage play with Patrick Stewart, Serene McKellen, and Helena Bonham Carter?
Dame Helen Mirren, and I think we're talking.
Oh, okay, yeah. She could play Guybrush.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right.
No,
Start a
I
petition.
mean, like you said, there's no backstory, there's no setup, there's no big sweeping introduction or anything to the game. It's just literally, I want to be a pirate, and that's it. That is your objective: is
That's
to
all I
make
need.
Guybrush a pirate, and that's all there is. I did
all I
find it
needed.
amusing how everyone got his name wrong all the time.
Yeah.
And I liked the bit where him and Elaine were in love and they were exchanging their declarations of love for one another, and she called him a plunder bunny.
Why-
Which just seemed really rude.
I know Anthony wants to say something, but I saw something that I think this game is very popular, especially in the UK, even more so than America. And I saw an interview with Stephen Fry where he said how in America they love a hero in their comedies, but in the UK we love an underdog.
Yeah.
Like Blackadder was an underdog and stuff like that. And I like that because I think Guybrush is an underdog. He's always being bullied. He was always being mocked by everyone. He's a fool, and I think that's another reason why it is very popular in this country in particular.
I read an interesting article about why the British love underdogs.
Go ahead, go on.
It's because well, at some point or another, we've owned.
I heard this as well.
We've owned 90% of the world as Britain at some point. You know, we didn't own all of it at one point, but we have conquered that much at various points in history. And the reason is because we're so great. You know, it's the guilt about what we've done to all the colonies and things like that, and so because of that, you know, we love the underdog. You know, gives them a fighting chance and things like that. And so apparently that's why it's ingrained in British culture, is because of the guilt from conquering the world.
Where was this article written? Was it The Guardian?
I read it on Facebook.
Daily Mail.
Daily Mail, really?
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
actually,
no. I think it was the Daily Mail, actually.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure. I can't remember the source.
I think it's because we're all stiff upper lip and stick with it.
I think it
Young
could be
man.
because of any indeterminate, nebulous reasons, but not because of just strict historical context.
We're just moaners, and we like other people we like to see people down on their luck, like we are.
You're like pirates.
But I think-
we like
but I
pirates.
Andy
I
had a
like
point he wants to make
pirates a
for
lot.
ages, but before I let him make that point, I also remind people that if you want to email us, you can contact us at retrograde@psychon.org. You can also follow us on Twitter at Retrograde Show, and you can also follow us on Facebook as well, and you can like us. And don't forget to, if you join the show, you can write us a review for us on iTunes.
That was
Anthony.
good. I appreciated that, actually. That was
That's
refreshing.
good. I thought I'd put it in the middle of the show so people go,
Yeah,
I can do those
exactly.
things, because they just turn off when I
I
go,
know.
Well, no,
that's
because
the end of the
now-
show, and they turn
Because
off.
now everyone's on their computers listening.
Yeah,
and so
so
they're going
do
to do
that.
it straight away.
You know what, yeah, while
rather
you're
than
listening,
check iTunes.
While
for
you're
the next
listening,
thing
just
they're gonna listen to.
pop on iTunes, pop a little
part of-
review.
Just have a look
in.
now. Just get your
Stop
mouse.
listening to the show.
No, keep the show open, but just click a new tab and just give us a quick look.
And
on
like
Facebook.
us, though. Really, like us.
Anthony, what was the point you wanted to make? You've been trying to make it for about 10 minutes.
Before that, the pre-point is that when you contact us on Twitter or leave us a review on iTunes, it does make us feel really warm and fuzzy. Yeah, so,
I print them out and stick them on my wall.
and then you throw darts at them. I know. Okay, my point was, with the sudden opening, that was so jarring for me, specifically because in Monkey Island 3, there's a whole cinematic opening. A cutscene where he's floating around on the water.
In a Dodgem, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say in a Dodgem, then I realised they wouldn't have had Dodgems back then, but I guess there
A
was.
bumper car, I guess.
But he's in a bumper car, floating in the water,
I thought-
writing in his
I
journal.
thought you were using a really colloquial way of saying he was in trouble. So he was in a Dodgem, he was.
Oh, no. Well, this is the thing. I mean,
he being a dodge.
I know the problem is if you play free straight from the start, you'll be very confused as to why he starts in Dodgem. But number 2 of Monkey Island has an amazing ending in which you.
Spoilers.
Well, yeah, spoilers alert if you're not playing number 2 thing. It's not even. Basically, the ending goes, LeChuck's dying in your arms, and then suddenly the whole thing flicks back and forth, and it turns out that you're both like 8-year-old boys and you're brothers. And your mum and dad come over, and you're in a fun fair, and all the rides in the fun fair are named after places you've just been in the game. And the mum and dad come over and go, "Would you two stop messing around?" And Guybrush goes, "Wait, what's happened?" And that's it. And it's really good ending, because as you walk off, your brother, the Chuck, turns around, he's got red eyes, and he walks off screen, and that's the end of the game. And it's a really fun ending. So the third one starts with him in a Dodgem at sea, because you realise he's probably been poisoned or something like that. It's really
See,
good.
that's the worst kind of ending.
Yeah,
it's the
I agree with
laziest
Sam.
ending where
It
he
was
wakes up
funny.
and it was all a dream.
No, but it's-
those are the worst endings.
I really
what I
liked
say
it
about
because it was so unexpected.
Except Inception ended well, so that would be
Inception
incorrect.
ended beautifully.
No, because Inception ended, is it a dream or not? And if he wakes up and it's all a dream,
No,
then it's the
because
worst
that's
kind
not-
of
No,
ending.
but that's
sounds
the whole point.
Lysan's criticism isn't that it was a dream. Lysan's criticism is that
Is the
this
technique.
ending is Deus Ex Machina, which is the hand
Yeah.
of God. It's just a random occurrence that has no reason for
Yeah,
happening.
exactly my point.
Inception made
I
sense and was
think-
beautiful, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, right, and this is what I was
right
going
there with you, James.
This is what I was going to get. I think that point is valid, but I think the reason it doesn't work as well in this thing because it's a slapstick game, and it reminded me a lot.
Oh,
of,
it's so not slapstick. You need to look up what slapstick means.
Okay, it's not slapstick, but it's comedy, and it reminds me.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
It reminds
Just about.
it reminds me the end of the Holy Grail. Of Monty Python's Holy Grail, when all the police turn up and arrest them.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's what I compare it to in terms... Because it's so funny all the way through that when it has a very silly, funny ending like that, it's not trying to be serious, it's trying to be funny.
No, but still, the device of the "it was all a dream" thing, the Deus Ex Machina, it's a very poor device to use to conclude a story. It's the easy way out. It's like, oh crap, I don't know how to end this. It was all a dream.
I guess
That's
so.
what, that's how it's regarded.
I know, that's how it's going, but I think when it's in the context
And
of
it's
a
not
comedy...
it's not the same as abstract subversion, like at the end of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Yeah, I know, right?
Considering you've not actually played the end of Monkey Island 2, I don't know how you can judge and say it's
No,
not.
you just told me what it was, though.
No, but it works.
You just told me
Anthony,
what it was.
you've played the end of the second one, right?
No.
Oh,
I own the second one, but...
Jack just swore!
I didn't
First
say- I
time
went-
Jack just swore in the podcast!
I Alright, okay, well,
It was
let's leave.
clear.
Anyway, my point was, back to the point, is that...
Oh, yes.
It's like 20 minutes at this point. Go on.
No, we went to good
Yeah, go
places
on,
with
go
that,
on.
apart from that whole bit about Inception that either Lizanne or James started. I'm not sure who. Anyway, my point was that it's so jarring to see no intro on this one because 3 has an intro, so I wondered if I accidentally skipped a cinematic or something. Because to have a cinematic intro with all like the pirate ship at the start of 3 where you're like shooting down, there's like a whole introduction staging scene, and that isn't in this, it's just sudden, and that was a bit weird.
Well, one of the big things they talked about a lot in this article was the fact that they were limited to the fact that it was originally on Amiga, it was on discs, and they already pushed it to like 6 floppy discs, and they were really starting to think like, we can't...
Did you have to change the disc as you were playing?
You had to change this. There was one bit in particular, and I can't remember why, I think it's when you walk into a cave that you have to basically go into and come straight out again. You have to switch discs, and it drove people mental, and it was just, they didn't want to push it to any more discs. So I think a lot of the time there are corners cut that I think they did because of the fact that they had to fit it all onto a disc.
That leads
Like
me on to a
floppy
point.
Yeah.
That leads me on to a point which should lead us on to an even broader point that I know one of you wanted to make.
Broad
talked
points
about-
are the best points.
You talked about why point and click died. That made me think about why point and click was invented, and I was thinking maybe...
Because mice were brought out.
No, I was thinking that maybe game
Mice suddenly
developers...
existed, so you could point and click. No?
Well, no, mice were around way before point and click, I think.
I didn't understand that was a joke. I thought you were just making a bizarre point, but it's because
Go on,
the delivery
Anthony.
was just too deadpan. So I'm sorry.
I was being serious.
No, I
really?
think the introduction of the
You're being
mouse...
serious.
That's not why they made point and click
Wait,
games.
what?
They
I
went,
thought you were.
"Oh, we've got this
Because they're
device. So
mice.
we've got this device now.
Finally, the possibilities are endless. The universe's secrets have opened up.
It's just DOS, so you just had a keyboard and stuff, and then
Whatever,
suddenly
they had,
here's a mouse. Windows, point and click.
Well, they did. Okay,
No? Is that
It-
not
Must make Monkey Island at once.
She's right, as in that movement in hardware allowed for it, but before then they had like text adventures, for example.
Oh,
where you
yeah,
could do,
yeah, no, I played
typing
those on the old
things,
BBC
yeah. But anyway,
computers,
sorry,
yeah.
Anthony, go on, your point.
I was wondering if point and clicks fulfilled an early need for this kind of like exploring adventure title when graphics hardware or processing hardware in general wasn't powerful enough to do things like, for example, now we've got Skyrim. You showed a person a point and click adventure with Skyrim here. If you added puzzles to Skyrim, no one would ever want a point and click adventure unless they were like nostalgic about it all. So I think that adventuring exploration itch is served by much like richer games now, and the reason these games were brought about is because they couldn't make richer games.
Yeah.
I agree, but then I think you got to remember that just at the time, this was new what they were doing. No,
Yeah.
this wasn't like by today's standards. It's a bit old hat, but you know, and they did carry this on with like Grim Fandango, and they're still doing. I mean, The Walking Dead, for example, is a recent game that's come out. And a lot of people gave that last year Game of the Year, and that is essentially a point and click adventure game. They're still
Yeah,
popular
my
to some
brother-in-law
extent.
came down over Christmas and he just sat on his laptop and played that the whole time. He loved The Walking Dead.
But the need has been usurped by much broader games, though. I mean, if people criticise the Call of Duty games for being too scripted and too linear, but point-and-click adventure games are essentially entirely scripted. I mean, you have certain ways you can interact with the scripting, but it all then just unfolds as it was put in place. There's no real interactivity there at all.
Someone must have invented the genre of point and click at some point. Like a guy sat down and said, "Okay, let's make a game," and it evolved into this genre. Like he was the first person to make it, whoever that was. I'm wondering what type of game he wanted to make that caused him to eventually create point and click adventures, and whether or not they've now died out because the reason they're invented is no longer a...
Sometimes it can't be credited down to one person. I mean, it's a bit of an evolution thing. Because like before this, you had a game like Dungeon Master, which was essentially a point and click, but you press forward, you went forward a bit, press forward, you went forward a bit. Before this, you had Manic Mansion, which had the scum bar as well, but had options like basically 9 options on the scum bar in Monkey Island. But I think Manic Mansion had 15. If you could do stupid
Maniac
things like
Mansion.
push and just all loads of different options. Maniac Mansion, sorry.
Yeah.
So it was kind of thing. And then by the time they got to Grim Fandango, they didn't even have any scum bar. They didn't have any HUD. You just walked around.
Oh, was
3D,
Grim
yeah.
Fandango developed by...
LucasArts. Yeah, that was Gilbert, or was it Schafer? Tim Schafer.
I think they both worked on all the games together, weren't they?
No, it got really confusing after, because for example, Sam and Max, none of them worked on. That was Purcell did as the artwork, and someone else did the stuff that, and he's now gone on to be like a Pixar-ized. I want to talk about one more thing that the game does really well that I loved, and that's colour.
Yeah, it did have a lot of colours in it, I'll give you that much.
It
There's
starts out
blue and red.
the
Yeah,
first
it's all blue and purple.
the first half of the game is blue and purple, and I think they did it on purpose to make objects stand out more and to make them things more colourful that you should be looking at, to make it a bit easier. When you get to the Monkey Island, it gets a lot harder. The actual island, it gets a lot harder, and I'm thinking, why is it getting harder? I think it's because a lot of the objects blend into the far more colourful background. And I love the way they did that. When you get to Monkey Island, it's a really nice, like, wow, it's really bright. This is awesome. This is completely different. I loved a lot of the style of it. There's little, and that's the other thing I was going to talk about was the little touches in Monkey Island, which I love. For example, I noticed when I was playing it, the three-headed monkey animation. The first, and I never noticed this before. The first head, he eats the banana. The second one chews, and the third one swallows. And it's a brief little animation. I was like, that's beautiful. And I love the fact that when the guy who's selling you the boats, his coat doesn't move, it's one texture.
Yeah, that was...
The one thing I was going to complain about Monkey Island, just quickly get this point in, I do agree actually that I don't like, is some of the puzzles are a little bit... I never liked, for example, there's a bit where you have a fight at Elaine's mansion and you get like gopher repellent, the wax lips and the staple remover. It's a lame way to get those items. I always remember going, some of the puzzles always felt a little bit like the famous one is sticking the pulley on the rubble chicken, was always like, that's not really very logical. Some of them are very good, some of them don't work very well. The ones that work really well, though, like the one where I had to tweet about it. It's my favourite moment in the game is when you steal the statue and he kicks you off the dock and you're tied to the statue and there are loads of swords around you, but you can't reach them and you know you've got 10 minutes because that's how long Guybrush says he can hold his breath. I don't know if you guys had it. I was stuck on that bit hours when I first played it. The solution to the puzzle is you have to... No, he says I'm running out of air or something. He goes, oh no, I'm alright actually. The solution to the puzzle is you pick up the statue you tied to, but I never thought about that. And there's a bit where if you're there for a couple of minutes, two guys walk up on the dock and they say, oh my god, I've just murdered my wife, what should I do with this knife? He's like, throw it in the sea. And he goes, yeah, okay, I'm going to throw it now, I'm going to throw it. And it goes on for a while and he goes, actually I think I'll hold on to it, it's quite a knife. And then they walk off again. And it's just little things like that. That's kind of why I love the game. I mean, I'll agree the puzzles and stuff can be a bit mundane and sometimes get a bit boring, but it's all those little touches that manage to brush over it and make it so much more enjoyable than say a game like King's Quest.
The Camp Cannibals kept me playing for another hour because they were pretty hilarious.
And every time you get out, they put a different strength lock on your door.
It's just the innuendo.
Yeah.
Oh no, we can't eat that guy. No, it'll be too hard. It's just like, oh god, it was pretty funny.
Did
Camp Cannibals, I enjoyed them.
Did anyone have any more mentions about the game?
Yes.
I like in reference to people talking about lateral thinking being involved in the puzzles and being crucial to the success. I think that, I mean, like, that's like saying, what's 1 + 1? Upside down 5, or that's like an insane guy in a criminally sort of insane mental hospital smearing his excrement all over the walls. That's lateral thinking. It makes absolutely no sense that I should be expected to think in ways that actually don't really make much sense when you think about it in order to progress. It's totally...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, there's some puzzles.
Frustrating.
There's some puzzles like the famous one is sticking the pulley on the rubber chicken to get across to Meat Hook's Island. It was very like, why would I have ever put those items together? And there are some, though, that you have to be quite tricky. For example, there's a bit where you give a troll to cross the bridge. You have to give him a red herring. And they put the red herring in there as a joke to say this is a red herring item. And he actually says to you when you're trying to, like, you need to give you something to cross, he says to you something, I need something pointless that you'd never have thought of that would not flow in the story. Something like that.
I need something obvious, which has no relevance.
Yeah, and it's weird things like that, which is kind of funny. But yeah, no, I completely agree. There are some puzzles in the game that I just went, this is really like it's just a bit like, oh, this is just silly. I would never have put those things together. In particular, I never enjoyed the bit when you're on the ship and you have to do a recipe and it gives you a recipe, but all the ingredients are a little bit like, oh, a little bit strange, and you have to I end up just basically throwing everything in the pot and waiting to see which ones actually worked. Because it's just, I couldn't be bothered to work.
But see, that's not good games design.
Oh no, I completely agree.
That's not good game design.
There are some puzzles. They got a lot better at it. For example, Day of the Tentacle. I don't know if you guys have ever played that. The puzzles in that are perfect. It's a much... I think Monkey Island's a better story. Actually, I think Day of the Tentacle might be my favourite one. And it's so clever. The sort of like the puzzles in that are genius. But anyway, sorry, what other points do you want to make, guys?
I have points about sound. First of all, one of the best theme tunes ever. Monkey Island as a whole, not just this game.
It's a great theme tune.
That melody.
I don't remember it.
No. No. I played it at the start of the show, Lizanne. Do you not remember?
Oh, yes, of course. I remember it now. Yeah, no.
Do you know who composed it?
No.
George Lucas.
Talentless Hack.
It's a shame I don't actually, but it's probably one of the... It will be... Yeah, I don't know.
If it was LucasArts, maybe it was John Williams.
John Williams, yeah. He doesn't actually compose, though. He arranges because he's a plagiaristic bastard.
That is true. That's a bleep there, Jack.
No, he spelled it with an E. My second point was that even though I thought the graphics were slightly less coherent on the remake, I really like the voiceovers. thought
I
they were
enjoyed the
decent.
voices.
Especially the guy in the shop.
The voice acting was very good.
They did actually. I was very nervous when they
Better
were
than
going to
Resident
do.
Evil.
I was very nervous when they were.
high praise, though, is it really?
I was very nervous when they were going to do the voices for the third game, and they actually done it really quite well.
Did it
Quite well, and like, they tweaked a lot of things. For example, like I said, when they did the close-ups of Guybrush in the first game, he looked too good looking. I was a bit like, But in the third one, he looks weird, a bit gonky. He looks like Nigel from the Wild Thornberrys, and that's the Guybrush I imagined. But yeah, so go on.
But no, the guy in the shop especially I love when he says something like I suppose I'll go and ask her again. And then he walks off the entire island. It's like, why do you keep on getting angry but still doing it? It's silly.
Just generally, some of the jokes in it really made me laugh. There's a bit when you fight, you learn how to be a sword man. You learn how to fight with a sword, and you come out and he goes, I feel like I've just been ripped off. I'm sure you're having a similar feeling to me right now. And at the end of the game, the last thing Elaine says to you, she's like, what are you thinking about? And one of the options is never spend $40 on a video game. And it's just little things like that I've got to admit just do make me laugh. They're just little jokes.
Meta. My final point was going to be not related to this, but sort of related to this. But the old team, this time at Double Fine, us making Double Fine Adventure.
Grossman's not with them. He works for a different. He went off to a not Humongous Entertainment. It might have been Humongous Entertainment. And they do children's games now, like Bertie's Big Red Car Racing or something like that.
But Schaefer is like head of Double Fine.
It's humongous.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yep.
Go on.
And then making Double Fine Adventure, so that's kind of like a AAA point and click, if that's what people who are listening are looking for.
Why do you think then that this game, for example, has been ported to the iPhone, to the iPad, it's been ported to Xbox? And all I was going to say was that obviously when Kickstarter, which wasn't really a huge thing, and then Schaefer came along and said, I want to do a classic point-and-click adventure, got the most money, I think Kickstarter, maybe now it's second or third it's ever got. Why do you think gamers have still got a bit of a hunger for point-and-click adventure games?
Actually, I think that's, I mean, part of the whole Kickstarter, like, success thing there is the weird, strange cult of personality around Tim Schafer, because he's got a lot of fans. Why are you?
I don't know what Anthony's doing.
For no reason why, I'm going to cut this all out, but Anthony just rolled his eyes when you started talking in a really rude way, and I don't know why.
Cover your mouth. He's being really cheeky. He's
Go on, Anthony. No,
cheeky
you've got to
tonight.
share
You're
now.
wearing baby
Because if you
blue.
don't, I'm going to cut all this little section out now, and it's going to make James sound weird when he talks.
Cut it out, whatever, I don't care.
Don't cut it out.
I think James should carry on.
Yeah, basically,
Nice cover.
I'm not sure what to think about Anthony anymore.
None of us are. Kickstarter. Why do you have a problem with Kickstarter and projects?
I don't have a problem with Kickstarter.
The cult of
projects.
Schaefer, you were saying.
I think that the cult of Schaefer ensured that was the most successful Kickstarter ever, and that he's got a bit of weight behind him. Not necessarily because he's successful, but he's just a big name. And I don't know why, because he's not done that much. He did this, he's done a few other cult classics, but I mean, I don't know. I think people tend to enjoy games that they can put a face to. Like if they know so and so designed that, they tend to put in a bit more effort because that's actually in some ways a personal relationship with the person who created it. And so it kind of demerits some of the Kickstarter stuff for me because he was so famous in the first place.
How's your Ouya box coming along, Jack?
It's going to be here in March. I'll make sure to bring it along for the episode when I get
I
it.
think it's a good point that Schaefer making a point and click will get a lot of people paying, but I also think it's just nostalgia in general for point and clicks because everyone thinks it's died out, so if a new one comes along, they get excited.
It's an underdog genre, and I think the only other thing I'll say about
that's why it's so funny.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll say about Schaefer is the fact that even when he makes a bad game, people will forgive him for it because he's making games that always make you kind of go, oh man, that could be cool. Like Brutal Legend's a very good example.
Yeah, it could have been cool if it was good.
It looked like a really cool game, but it actually wasn't that great, and it was always a shame. People were a bit like, oh, because, and like even the cave looks very interesting. And I think people are really willing to give him a chance as a developer because of the fact that he's never really sold out and made even Psychonauts, which I know is coming up to maybe like 10 years old. That was a really good game.
Yeah, I didn't like Psychonauts.
Did you not like Psychonauts?
No,
okay.
I didn't play a huge amount of it. I got it in the bundle and I played about half an hour of it.
But I guess he just he's had a few bad runs of the games. Even for like recently did Connect they did a Connect game called like something like Happy Fun Arcade or something, and it was actually quite a nice little novel game. It was like I can't
Double Fine Action Theatre?
Yeah, something like that. And it was just basically like a Connect game where it felt lava on the floor, or you could be Godzilla smashing over.
That game looks really awesome, but not because it's a game, because you can have fun with people.
Yeah, it was just, and that's the thing. And they always like Double Fine are a good studio to always kind of making something that even if you're not going to buy it, and even in terms of rubbish, you are interested. You kind of look and go, That's kind of cool. And there's not many studios doing that anymore. I think they're still taking risks, which is what I like about it, I guess.
I think
Yeah,
they're
they
making
are.
games that don't appeal to everyone.
Definitely.
And
That's respectable.
Kind of cool. Any other points, guys? Anything else? I think we all wind up there? Because I've got loads of trivia. Loads of trivia.
Go for it, Jack. Come on, let's hear it.
Alright, trivia. Game was obviously on Amiga, on a console, a PC called FM Towns. Have you ever heard of this? It was a Japanese PC, I've never heard of it. And a Mega CD. Got on there. With the buying of LucasArts by Walt Disney in 2012, the rights to the franchise are now property of Disney. But Ron Gilbert has been quoted in November 2012 as not being optimistic about the franchise's future, believing that Disney might abandon the franchise in favour of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Maybe they'll make the film.
However, in December 2012, he was also quoted as wishing to contact Disney, hoping to make the game he wants to make. And there's a big thing. There's lots of pretty silly rumours that people are going, because the secret of Monkey Island was never revealed. Like, it is never revealed what the secret was, and people believe that Schaefer and Gilbert, they've all got in their mind, they've got a big secret as to what it is.
I bet the secret is that there is no secret.
This is lost all over again.
Exactly,
Don't expect
man.
much.
Wait,
It's been 23 years since the secret of Monkey Island.
Oh my
Jack.
god, it's been 23 years since 1990.
One.
Oh.
You weren't born yet.
I know, I just can't believe that. Dude, that feels like yesterday, man.
It's been 100 years since. Yeah, I'm trying to remember that one.
Work it out, Jack. Work it out.
13, yeah. Anyway.
Well, I was going to ask you,
Cool.
in the Curse of Monkey Island, which is the third one, is there a curse?
I guess the curse is the fact that he gives her the ring and she turns to a statue. I always assume that was the curse, I guess.
I was thinking maybe they just named them all ominous sounding stuff.
The fourth one's called Escape from Monkey Island?
Yeah.
Is that
Do
right?
they escape?
The fourth
remember.
one is not very good. The fourth one is. I got about a few hours in there and I'm not playing this anymore. The tail and
3D.
the Tales of Monkey Island as well got better as they go along, but overall not too great.
Right.
But,
And do they ever tell any tales? Probably not.
probably not.
It's a reference to the monkey anatomy.
There are many comic references to various LucasArts projects in the game, especially Star Wars. For example, in Curse, when you click on the fort that's been damaged by the cannon fire from the Chuck ship, Guybrush replies, "That's funny, the damage doesn't look as bad from out here," which is C-3PO's line after he and R2-D2 escape from Prisoner's Lair's ship in the escape pod in Star Wars. The program that the game's artist used to create was called D-Paint, and it saved files as brush files. So when they were drawing the main character, he was saved as Guy.Brush. So hence the name Guybrush.
Oh, that's a good bit of trivia. I like that.
And
know that.
the surname Threepwood came from the Threepwood family, who appeared in a series of short stories and novels by British author P.G. I want to say Woodhouse, but I don't think that's
Yeah, Woodhouse.
Yeah,
I thought it was Woodhouse, because that's how it's spelled.
I thought it was, it's spelled W-O-D-E, so only one O. So I was about to go Wodehouse, but I took a guess.
Oh,
and
I've always
Wood.
heard it pronounced PG Woodhouse.
Yeah,
He did Jeeves and Wooster, he's awesome. If you're listening, you should read his book.
He is more famous for his Jeeves and Wooster stories.
Which you should also watch, because Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie are
And
awesome.
Hugh Laurie, yeah. The character of Guybrush Threepwood ranked number 3 in CGW, which is Computer Gaming World's November 1996 listing of the most memorable game heroes of all time. What was there? There's loads of in-jokes. For example, there's a bit about... there was a joke that has completely removed, because there's a bit where if you go up to a stump, and I remember it's in some versions, if you pick up a stump, it would say, please insert disc 27. And it was a joke to the fact that how many games the discs on, but the problem is it caused so much confusion because people were looking for this disc. They were getting phone calls to LucasArts helpline saying, we can't find disc 27, how do we do this? So I had to take it out for the CD-ROM version because people were just getting too confused. The man in the troll suit guy on the bridge of Melee Island is a pixelated version of the LucasArts founder George Lucas.
Yeah, I knew that.
Which I was going. And this is just one I stumbled upon. In the island of Puerto Rico, inhabited exclusively by a few scientists and over 800 monkeys, there's a grand experiment that is off limits to tourists. It's called Monkey Island, and they've not revealed what the actual experiment is.
That's the secret.
That's come from a Today I Learned off Reddit. And the comments are mostly like, what? What kind of...
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, basically.
That was quite a large intake of breath.
No, that was quite dramatic.
But
Why would they have Jurassic Park for monkeys? We already have monkeys.
how do we know they're monkeys? Nobody's
They're
allowed
feeding
there.
the monkeys to the dinosaurs.
Seems like really cost inefficient food
There are a lot of
source.
monkeys, though.
I don't know, monkeys breed.
Plus, how do dinosaurs catch monkeys? They're really quick.
They're fed.
What
to
are you on
them.
about? Dinosaurs are faster than monkeys.
Not through trees and stuff.
A T-Rex can push a tree over.
Yeah, but the monkey just jumps to the next one. It's like...
Yeah,
it's like,
T-Rex... dude, a dinosaur would totally be able to...
It's like... Okay, I know this is going to be cut, but it's like me trying to catch
it's
a
not
mouse.
gonna be cut.
It's like me trying to catch a mouse. It's quite hard to do it with my bare hands.
No, but that's not the same size ratio.
You can't catch a mouse.
T-Rex to a monkey.
No, you to a rabbit is the correct ratio.
Yeah, it's really hard to catch a rabbit as well.
You're rubbish at catching
What
rabbits.
environment are you in?
A
What's
forest.
the environment?
Oh, yeah, forest.
Yes, well odd.
I know, because I'm saying a T-Rex...
Oh, yeah, no, I can't catch any rabbits in my forest.
Maybe a T-Rex chasing a monkey... Maybe a T-Rex chasing a monkey across a field, you might be able to catch it. But in a forest, definitely, like on an island, there's probably going to be trees and stuff.
No, but there are going to be
monkeys-
loads of monkeys. Like, he doesn't have to just get one. He takes one
there isn't just
straggler
one.
and
There's
he's got his
like
dinner.
800
So
of them.
It's Monkey Island, Anthony.
It's like-
There's plenty to choose from.
Oh, it's like whales and plankton.
Yeah.
They don't have to hunt for individual plankton, they just
Oh, I
open
thought
their
you meant
mouths.
country.
Okay, let's wrap up this show, as I
Sorry.
say, with
Yeah.
funny ears. Yeah, so I chose this one, so I guess we're going to review this, but I pretty much know how this is going to go. I'd like to compare this game to a comedy film. For example, I think this game is the closest we have to, and the LucasArts classics are closest to we have to the Monty Pythons of the video game world.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I think
No.
I think this is the
No.
Monty Python, the
No.
comedy of the video game world, and that's I would
Can't
compare
disagree with
this
his
to
opinion.
because
Yeah.
Monkey Island is one of the most important ones, one of the most influential. I would say it's Life of Brian, which is my favourite Monty Python film.
In what sense is it like Life of Brian?
It's hilariously funny.
No,
That's all I
he's
need
not,
to
he's
do.
not comparing it, he's rating it with...
I
Life
no,
of
actually, I
Brian,
think
so
Life of
it's
Brian
like-
has some flaws. I think it's some
We also
good bits about it.
tend to go quite metaphorical
I
about
didn't.
it.
I didn't enjoy the bit in Life of Brian when he falls into the spaceship, and I think there are bits of Monkey Island like that where are little sequences that I go, that didn't work as well. And there are jokes that fall flat, you know, I won't lie. But I think overall it's a very, very hilariously funny, and that's what I would compare it to. What comedy film would you guys compare Monkey Island to in your rating? Does anyone have one? Or
I've got one. I'm going to compare it to Clerks because both were directed or designed by a sort of nerd icon with a lot of facial hair who has quite esoteric tastes in terms of sort of visual and artistic effects. And both were massive cult hits, and both are completely awful and not worth your time.
Oh dear.
So, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Got Clerks, Life of Brian. Anthony got one, or Lizanne, you got one?
Yeah, I think so.
Just think of a terrible comedy film, Lizanne. Like The Princess Stories or something.
The Princess Diaries is amazing.
I was about to
Shut
say
up.
The Princess Bride.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
don't
you
say
can-
that. That's like
No,
one of the
that's-
best comedies.
I think I'm
not
gonna-
that great. Let's go
It's-
easy, guys.
it's great,
Let's go
though.
easy.
It's very good.
Actually, no, I like Princess Bride. Sorry, go on, Anthony.
I think I'm going to rate it as a rating, I'm going to give a French comedy film. And I don't have any to name.
Amelia? It's not really a comedy, is it?
You mean
Sorry, go
Amelie?
on. Amelie.
I mean, Amelia's the
Oh,
sequel.
Jack, your French accent is so good.
Oh my god.
Croissant. Go on.
Also, Emily was fantastic.
Croissant.
So that makes no sense.
I know, that's why I said it.
You did it.
Croissant.
Croissant.
Fromage. Go on, Anthony. Omelette du fromage.
Where's
Go on,
that
Anthony.
from again?
Dexter Laboratories.
France.
Oh,
It's very accidentally tries to learn French by putting a thing on his
I
brain,
remember.
but it skips and
I did-
it skips, and all it says is omelette de fromage. And
Yeah.
next day at school, every question he gets answered, the answer is
I
omelette de
remember.
fromage. Go on, Anthony.
Anyway, the reason I give it a French comedy film is because... I can't really name any French comedy films, but take any French comedy film and the jokes are probably pretty good, but the underlying mechanics, that is... the language of expression isn't that great. So I don't watch French comedy films because even though I might enjoy the jokes, I don't really enjoy the film itself. Because
Yeah,
it's
that works,
French.
'cause-
What if it has subtitles though? That completely
Well,
circumvents the problem.
That works.
No, I'm not
'cause-
saying I don't watch French films because I can't understand French. I'm saying I don't watch French films with English subtitles because it kind of like takes away from the enjoyment when I'm not fully immersed in the film because I'm reading those subtitles. And
No,
stuff.
that works because you're not cultured enough to enjoy the game.
Yeah, I guess.
Zan, what do you guys
I'm going to give it a There's Something About Mary.
Oh, that's not a bad
Because
comedy, it's alright.
when it came out, it was the best thing ever. It was hilarious. But then everyone got a bit bored of it. The jokes got a bit samey. And it just went on and on. And still it's referenced. And still people go on about
It's
it.
an important film,
and
yeah.
it's still not as good. And I feel it is now completely overrated and doesn't deserve a cult status.
Farrelly Brothers? Was that
Farrelly
them?
Brothers.
Farrelly Brothers? Gee, what's wrong with my English today? I'm all over the
What's
show.
wrong with your English? Full stop.
I know, I'm really bad. Okay, no, that was good though. Okay, so all around, that is,
When
Can you
Lazan said
summarise that?
full stop, I wanted to make a joke about skipping Jack's sentence.
Oh, you totally should have.
But no,
Should
I
we
couldn't.
record?
No, I couldn't
Let's do it
figure it out.
again.
No, I couldn't figure out what you skipped because he'd stopped speaking. So
Yeah, it
it's not
wouldn't
you're
work.
skipping him.
It's not
Then the
really-
full stop works. Hey, in action.
No, because then Lazan said something of her own and then said full stop, so
called
she's not
period.
skipping herself
Oh, I
either.
see. Okay.
In America it is. And why did you look at me when you said period?
I'm trying to make you think I'm clever.
Oh, okay.
Not because you're the only woman in the room.
Right.
But that as well.
Anyway, on that note, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the show. And you can visit our new website at retrogradeshow.com to find a back catalogue of all of our episodes. You can also find us on Twitter at Retrograde Show. You can email us whenever at retrograde@psychon.org. That's retrograde at csicon.org. And you can also follow us and like us on Facebook. Just search for us on Facebook, obviously, for Retrograde. Oh, go on.
Point of
Anthony.
interest, I know that Psychon, the website, changed addresses. Has the
Psychon,
email...
Email hasn't changed.
You can now visit psychon.org and psychon.net, but the email,
they both work.
the email is still retrograde@psychon.org.
Okay.
Did you mention Twitter?
I've mentioned Twitter,
Right,
yes.
okay.
And if you
Wait. Facebook.
and Facebook.
Did you mention our email address?
I've mentioned email
Have you
address.
mentioned the website, retrograde.com?
Retrogradeshow.com.
Now,
Retrogradeshow.com.
Jack, remind me, can they like us?
They can like us on Facebook if they want.
Yeah.
But
How do they find us on like...
We love the likes on Facebook, but to be honest, we'd appreciate it much more if you went onto iTunes and gave us a lovely little review. And if you do that, you get a free Retrograde badge.
Oh, don't forget to mention iTunes reviews.
Yes, iTunes reviews,
They're
so you can
good.
do that.
They're good.
Lastly, if you want to sponsor the show, you can always head over to psychon.org/sponsor.
Wait, hang on a second. Have you got a recommendation as to how many stars they should give us on
I would
iTunes?
hope for 5, but I'd like them to be honest.
Yeah?
Which is fine by me. Just say what you want. You'll still get a badge.
We can delete the bad ones, can't
Yeah, we can. No, we can't. No, that's a problem.
We're going to censor you, so be careful.
Yeah.
If you could delete the bad ones, everyone would have 100% 5 stars on iTunes.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We would just have no ratings. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the PC classic Quake. Oh, chosen by Anthony. I'm glad you chose this one because I was actually thinking Quake. No, what I didn't think about when you chose it. I kind of went, I really thought we'd do Doom before we do Quake, but I'm glad you picked Quake. It's actually like, it was a really important game. But why did you choose Quake? Sorry.
Well, this is the reason I'm picking Quake over Doom, even though I played and enjoyed Doom. Quake was way more fundamental to my childhood, whereas Doom I kind of came to later. So Quake, spent so much time playing Quake, and not necessarily the single player, although I have completed that, but the multiplayer with bots. So much time I
Did
spent.
you not have any friends?
I didn't have the internet. Well, I didn't have the fast internet required to play Quake and not be terrible.
For Anthony's show, can we get a sound clip of the 56k dial-up?
Yeah,
And
I'll
play
put that in there.
that, just because every time I listen to that, it's
Every time
nostalgia.
Anthony speaks, can we just dub a loop of that over
Yeah.
it? For
I was about
Just
to make
have-
that joke.
Well, he
So-
didn't, so suck it.
Well, I was going to say that I don't mind bad-mouthing myself. I don't mind that James said it, because I was going to say it anyway, so...
And we're gonna. Are we gonna?
suck it?
Are we
I just
gonna?
stared at you, waiting for you to suck it.
Are we gonna hook up and do a bit of multiplayer?
Hopefully.
Come on.
Let's hook up, guys.
We
That'd
can
be fun.
try.
But
Hook up.
yeah, so make sure you listen to us in 2 weeks' time when we're going to be playing Quake. Make sure you give it a go yourself. If you've got any thoughts on the game, make sure you contact us on the many various means I just said. That's a goodbye from me, Jack Marshall. Goodbye from Anthony Hobday.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Lazan Fisher.
Bye.
And a goodbye from James McFadden.
But like us, though.